Welcome back to That Pilates Nurse. Today's workout is a 20-minute full body class that will leave you feeling strong and energized. There is no equipment needed, just yourself and a mat. When you're ready, lay out that mat, find a comfortable space, and let's get moving. We will be starting today's class with a stretch series to warm up that body. Meet with me standing on your mat, your feet slightly less than hip width apart, and bend your knees into a squat, diving your arms down just past your knees, and standing up tall, shooting those arms into the air, up and over your head. And again, bend into a squat, dropping your arms down to the floor, and raising up tall, bringing those strong Pilates arms high into the sky. This move feels really good to stretch almost every part of your body and to start to raise that heart rate. At this next rise to the top of your squat, place your pointer fingers together, spread your feet hip width apart, and bend into that left side body, giving that right side a deep stretch. Return back to center. Add another squat if you would like to reset. Bring those pointer fingers back together, spread your feet hip width apart, and lean over to the right side, giving that left side body a deep stretch. Next, we are going to stretch out our neck muscles, rolling our head clockwise, slowly. Many of us tend to hold stress into our neck muscles, so this exercise should feel really good to release some tension. And now reversing directions, rolling our head out counterclockwise slowly. Slowly shaking our head yes, bringing our chin to our chest, and then looking up to the sky. And slowly shaking our head no. Bringing our head as far to the right side as feels comfortable, and back to the left side. Now that we are warmed up, let's begin with a standing series. Return to the position we began our warm-up in with our feet slightly less than hip width apart. Squat down slowly as if you are sitting into a chair, and return back to the top, squeezing your glutes throughout the entire move. At the same time as you squat down, shoot your arms up to your ears, creating a long line from the tips of your fingers all the way to the end of your tailbone. This next squat, hold in that chair position and pulse at the bottom. Try to create that pulse by squeezing your glutes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and return back to standing. Next, we are going to work on some unilateral work, starting with your left foot, stepping back into a reverse lunge, barely hovering that left knee off of the mat. I love this exercise because it fires up your glutes, quads, and hamstrings. I like to put my hands on my hips for this exercise to remind myself to keep my hips facing forward and also to draw in those abdominal muscles. At the top of this rep, bring your left foot in to meet your right and draw your right knee backwards and down, hovering over the mat, creating a 90-degree angle with both that front and back leg. Next, we are going to transition into deadlifts with a balance component. Begin by shooting your left leg back straight behind you, creating a long line from the crown of your head to the tip of your toe. Maintain a slight bend in your right knee and swing your left leg forward and around into a knee tuck into your chest. As you can see, balance exercises are a constant work in progress. Don't get frustrated if you feel yourself struggling to balance. Playing with hand position, finding a spot of focus at the top of your mat, and squeezing your abdominals all can help to improve form with this movement. Switch legs, planting your left foot into the mat and shooting your right leg backwards into a long line behind you, and swing that knee, tucking it into your chest. You can also pause for a brief second before drawing into the knee tuck to reset your balance. You can see my balance was much better on one side than the other. Great job. That is a challenging exercise, both mentally and physically. Now return to the center and we are going to transition into a little arm series. Come down onto your knees, kneeling up tall if you can. If not, you can sit onto your feet. Bring your arms out to a T and start with little arm circles, holding that core in tight and those arms out nice and long. Reverse those arm circles, trying to maintain the same height with those arms in a T shape that you started with. Now keep those arms high and bend your elbows up into a goalpost position, drawing those forearms to meet one another in front of your face. The key to this exercise is to draw your elbows in together first, which will help to work those chest muscles. Hold your arms out and pulse up, up, up. My arms were on fire at this point. Next, send your hips backward, sitting onto your heels, shooting your arms backwards, and come back into a kneeling position. bringing those arms up to your ears. And again, start with your hips drawing back and bring those strong arms backwards. Flex your abs and glutes and shoot your arms forward, returning to a high kneeling position. Now let's focus on those triceps only, sending your hips halfway back with a straight spine and pulse those arms up and backwards. We are going to finish this arm series with some push-ups. You can choose your variation here with either knees on or off the mat, and deciding how wide you want your arms. Your arms closer together emphasize the tricep muscles, and further apart will emphasize your deltoids and your chest muscles. Great job. Let's stretch those hard-worked muscles out, reaching your right arm to the sky and threading the needle. What a well-deserved stretch. Switch to the other side with your left arm in the air and threading the needle. Now let's sit on our glutes, bringing our legs to a tabletop and bringing our hands under our shoulders behind us for some core work. Crunch your legs into your chest and expand your legs out long, and repeat. Next, lay all the way down onto your back and begin to roll up to a seated position, articulating the spine as slowly as possible, and twist your body to the left at the top with arms straight out in front of you in a woodchop position. Roll all the way back down onto your back, vertebra by vertebra, and repeat, this time twisting to the right side. At the bottom of this final roll-up, bend your knees into a 90-degree angle, and we are going to work our obliques. Crunch up using your center core with your arms out long by your ankles, parallel with your mat, and reach your left arm as far as you can towards your left ankle, and then reach your right arm as far as you can towards your right ankle. Keep going, switching off sides. This exercise is really great for working those obliques. We are now going to transition into a tabletop position on our knees to localize some of our abdominal work to the side body. Reach your right arm out long and your left arm out long, creating a long line between the tips of your fingers and the tips of your toes. Now crunch your left knee as hard as you can into your belly button and your right arm in the same direction, creating a ball with your opposite arm and opposite leg. This exercise is great for core strength as well as overall balance. Now we are going to switch sides, stretching your right leg out long and your left arm out long, and crunching both arm and leg into your belly as hard as you can, creating that ball in the middle of your body. For our final exercise of this abdominal series, return to a tabletop position, and we are going to simply tap our knees onto the mat and lift back up to tabletop. Tap and lift, tap and lift. Keep drawing in your abdominals. We are almost finished. You are doing so well. Join me in a well-deserved child's pose, inhaling and exhaling slowly, bringing that heart rate back down to baseline. Now let's transition into a cobra pose, stretching out those hard-worked abdominal muscles. For our final series of class, we are going to return back to tabletop and begin with a fire hydrant on the right side, lifting the right knee up to the sky at a 90-degree angle. This traditional exercise really lights up the outer glute and hip. Next, transition into a donkey kick, bending your right knee up from the mat, directly behind your glute, and straightening your leg out long behind you. Rebend the knee and return it back to the mat, and repeat. On this last rep, keep your right leg out long and tap your toe to the left side of your left knee planted onto the mat, and then return to center. Keep going, we are almost finished with this side. We are going to repeat this entire series, starting with our left leg this time, beginning with fire hydrants, creating a 90-degree angle with the left knee and lifting it to the sky from the hip. Try to maintain a neutral spine, moving only the left knee up and down from the mat. Next up is our donkey kick, shifting the position of our left knee to the posterior aspect of our body, lifting up and straightening that knee all the way out into a long line and returning back to the center. Lastly, hold that left leg out long and tap the mat on the right side of the knee on the mat and return back to neutral, tapping down on the mat. And repeat. We are almost finished with our workout. Excellent work. Now join me in a downward dog. Take some big deep breaths in and out, bringing that heart rate back down to baseline. Raise your left leg high into the air in a one-legged downward dog and draw your left knee forward, entering a pigeon pose for a nice glute stretch. This feels so good after all of that challenging lower body work. Return back to a downward dog, raising your right leg high into the air and entering a pigeon pose on the right side. I like to place my hands on my hips in this pose to make sure my hips are staying in a neutral position. Lastly, enter a tabletop position and walk your wrists out on the mat, playing with the positioning of your hands. This is my most favorite exercise, especially after plank exercises, to protect and stretch out those wrists. Thank you so much for joining me today for this 20-minute full body Pilates workout, and don't forget to thank yourself for showing up on your mat today. I'm That Pilates Nurse. Like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one.